Seven, six, five, four, three, two, one.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
Welcome to Innovating a Game Changer podcast. I am your host, the innovator Nevada Smith, and today we're bringing you Google Ventures Design Sprint Day 3, which is Wednesday. We're going to look at actually selecting the solution and some tips and tricks about how to stop that conversation and get on with the program. I'm your innovator. This is Nevada Smith, and you're listening to Innovating a Game Changer podcast. Oh, welcome back. This is your innovator, Nevada Smith, and today we're continuing our journey with the design sprint, taking a look at exactly what goes on from a Google Ventures design sprint perspective. We are taking a look at Wednesday today and exactly what goes on and how do you select that solution to move forward. Most importantly, how do you keep down the amount of discussion that's going to be going on in the room so that you can get to the right idea to prototype moving forward. So yesterday, which was Tuesday, we actually individually went out there and drew each one of the screens. And today we're going to we drew a layout of what the solution was going to be. And today is going to be our first look. We're going to unravel those because yesterday, again, it was all done individually and it was done so that nobody else knew what anybody else was doing. So Wednesday design sprint really starts off with determining which solution you're going to pick. And to do that is now there's the first time that you stick these up on the wall. You use an art museum where everybody gets a chance to walk around, examine the ideas and the solutions to the ideas and make sure that they select the one that is moving forward. And so give them about 10 or 15 minutes to take a look at that particular thing. Again, I'm using the egg timer that's going to allow us to hold everybody to that particular time, and we've spread them out throughout the room so that people can gather. There's no talking allowed, so we treat it like a library. You don't want people having a discussion about what it is there in the particular thing. So moving into the heat map, which is really the voting section. Now, something that I do that's slightly different from what others do is, again, I use these particular, if you were having a yard sale, and I give everybody one sheet of these. And the blues will hold those off for later, but really they get to actually go ahead and create a heat map by putting these stickers on. Now, the reason I use the stickers with the values on them is because it actually helps me it actually helps me prioritize which particular portions of the idea are the most important. So the ones that give us the most customer value. And so it also limits an individual from going ahead and sticking a number of dots on a section just because they want to get that particular portion into it. So everybody gets these votes. Everybody gets the same amount of money that they can spend. And the idea is to try to allocate all of these on the screen. Now, it's not necessarily that you should use every one of these particular dots, but most people do. And we found really, really good moves forward with this. Now, the way that Google Design Sprint does it is it kind of gives you unlimited number of stickers. I've tried that methodology. It does work, but I find the prioritization with the dollars is the much more important, gets better results out, and it stops a lot of the discussion that needs to go on. So after we've done that, we're going to see the heat map. We're going to see the values. I've now listed out each of the ideas, or the scribe has listed out each of the ideas in the most important priority order, or the solution portions to that. We've listed those out on a board at this point. You can see the highest priority at the top. And now we're going to go through each particular sketch, and the facilitator is going to read through. Again, we're using the particular egg timer to keep these things to 3 minutes. When the bell goes off, that is time to wrap it up and move on to the next idea. We're capturing at this point any standout ideas that are important. And then when the bell goes off and the facilitator has wrapped up, we ask the individual who came up with that solution to now tell us who they are, and then fill in any gaps if we've missed anything. Now, again, if we go back now to the Tuesday, we needed to make these solutions self-explanatory. If we were interacting with a particular solution, we want that as easy for the end user to pick that up as possible. So if there's a lot that has to be discussed here, then that is an opportunity for that particular individual solution to be too complicated to implement. And typically when those types of ideas move forward to the end, you get less out of the customer interactions on Friday, and you get people confused. So you really want to pay attention to that. If it takes a lot to discuss it, then probably move on to one of the other solutions, or select the best pieces of those solutions to move forward. Again, the heat map's going to allow you to do that. Now, they do a straw poll. I don't really like that. It doesn't really work that well. And then, of course, the decider would come in with a super vote. Now, in my particular workshops, I don't have a decider. Again, the stickers decide which particular portions of the ideas we're moving forward with. So this has already happened. But I do allow the people to use the blue stickers at this point to go ahead and make sure that based on the ideas that have been discussed and the solutions that have been put forward, we need another opportunity here to say, well, did I not understand something? So they get 3 blue stickers to select their best portion of a particular solution. Now, what I notice at this point is typically these blue dots do follow the actual highest values that are already on the screen, but I have been in a number of workshops, probably 20% of the workshops that I've done specifically around the design sprint, those typically are the ones where, we missed it, let's go ahead and use the blue dots. Now, the blue dots at this point, if they're going on to a separate solution for something, then at that point I take down all the money and I allow an individual to go back through that exercise of voting one more time, utilizing a new set of dollars that they can place up on there. And then we just run through that process really, really quickly again, as far as prioritizing those particular cells or those particular parts of the solution that are going to be the highest dollar value. So that works really, really well, and it keeps the discussion down to a minimum as well. So at 11:30, we've got our ideas. We've now prioritized those ideas, and the highest values go to the top, and we can go ahead and then move those things over to a new part of the whiteboard that's going to basically be our minimum viable product that we name for going on. Now, if you need to start getting in discussions here, I typically skip over this part here. These prototype rumblings tend to get out of control. Again, if you use the egg timer, it kind of helps you keep you on track. But again, it typically distracts the individuals from what they need to be focusing on within that section. Of course, it is 11:30, 11:45 by now, so those only go on for 15 minutes anyway. I utilize this time for a branding exercise where I actually go through the Alex Osterwald branding exercise, and you can find that utilizing the branding canvas. If you do a search for branding canvas, Alex Osterwalder, you can take a look at that, and that helps us come up with a quick high-level brand name or a actual name for the product that we're going on. Again, you can do note and votes at this time to narrow down any of the decisions here. One of the important things is just before lunch is it is important to make sure that your solutions or the parts of the solutions that you're putting together are going to go into a single customer journey, a single storyboard. Because if they're not, they're rarely addressing other customer value areas or other customer concerns, pain points or challenges that those customers are facing. So it's important to slide those across and make sure that you've got those out of the end solution. Again, if you need to go through a voting exercise to determine which particular solution you're going to go forward with, this is a good time to do that, utilizing the dollar approach. So out to lunch again, we get out of the room, we get up, we physically get up and we go outside if possible, if the weather's nice. If not, we try to go to a different area so that we can go and do what we need to do. You get 1 hour for lunch, and then we're going to come back and we got to make sure we're energized. Being energized is very important, so make sure you're not eating pizza at this point, because a pizza will just drag you down with the carbohydrates. So you want healthy food. You want everybody to come back being energized. So salads, good lean proteins, things like that are going to keep that energy up. So at 2 p.m. we're moving into the storyboard exercise, and this is where we're planning out our prototype, and this is how we're going to do it. Now, they use a grid here of about 15 squares on a whiteboard. I've found that there's too much going on, and we typically end up erasing a section over and over again. So I use 2 colors at this point. So 2 colored Post-it notes. One is for the scene itself, and the second color. So let's say we select a yellow for the scene itself, and the second color is really for the feature or the explanation of that particular scene. You need to choose an opening scene here. So this could typically be someone interacting with interacting with your existing product. It could be somebody walking down the road getting a push notification. It could be somebody getting a notification or something on a integrated watch. There could be a triggering event that actually starts this particular forward. So in the healthcare field, maybe it's my blood sugar's out of whack. So that could be the triggering mechanism. That could be the opening scene here. And you can draw out, am I interacting with the app stores? Am I doing a web search or whatever? But it's important to set that scene, set that opening scene, and that's really going to drive the particular value of what we're doing forward. Again, we focus that opening scene on the customer value. Delivering customer value is the most important thing. And then we go on and we move through the drawing exercise and feature set exercise of filling out that particular storyboard itself. So, again, I use the post-it notes. It allows us to move that around very, very easily. We don't have to rub cells out and restart them again, and that's, again, why I use those. We try to keep the story to 10 or 15 steps. They say 5 or 15. I typically find everything falls within that 10 to 15 steps range. We get much beyond that. We're really talking about a solution that's not going to be able to be put in front of a customer and get that feedback on Friday. So we want to keep that to 10 to 15 steps, and we want to make sure we can get through the particular exercise where the customer on Friday is going to be able to get through this thing in 10 or 15 minutes. So if it's taking longer than that, or you think it's going to take longer than that, definitely skinny down the idea. Look at the MVP that you're putting into this particular storyboard and start to cut stuff out. If you come across a gap in the solution at this point, try not to come up with brand new ideas at this point, because that's not what it's about. There are exercises that I run with different workshops that identify those gaps in a particular customer journey, and those gaps is where innovation happens. But this is not the time to be doing this, because you can actually waste a lot of time trying to come up with new solutions for those particular gaps. So try to get that prototype down, try to take cells and pull them together. Can I do things in one step instead of 3 or 4 steps? That's where you need to be focusing, because that, again, is going to give a better customer experience. The last tip here is really about draining the battery, and that talks about how tired you're going to be at the end of this. You are going to be tired because we're doing a lot, and it's now Wednesday, and most importantly, you've come back from lunch and you're going to be a little bit drained. So, get up throughout throughout each one of these exercises and make sure everybody's standing up and moving around here. If you start to notice the energy of the room drop down, go ahead and put on a funny YouTube video to refresh everybody. I do, again, have the timer that's running through various times, and my alarm's going to go off on my phone, and then I'm going to ask everybody to get up and move, right? And that kind of helps everybody just stop what they're doing for a second and move along. Sometimes I throw up a quick puzzle as well on the board that ends in something funny. You can find a lot of those online. So that's really it for Wednesday. At the end of the day, you've now got a 10 to 15 step solution that you're going to be prototyping tomorrow. So the fun stuff really happens starting tomorrow. So this has been episode 21, and we've looked at today at Wednesday. I've really enjoyed bringing this to you. If you enjoy these videos, please leave a comment below. I really enjoy making them and sharing my ideas out there. So please comment. Let me know if you've got ideas for future podcasts. This has been Innovating a Game Changer podcast. I'm your innovator, Nevada Smith, and this has been episode 21.